making progress. Morning everyone, another beautiful day here in the Waikato. It's a little bit cold but the sun's out. Bit of an early start this morning too. We had to finish milking by 9 or finish washing up by 9 because the power was going out. They're putting a new transformer in down by a house there for a new house site, so the power's off for this road for most of the day. Mike's back again. Say hi to everyone, Mike.
Hey, how you going?
He is putting the roof on. Well, putting the beams in. I don't know if he got any iron, but
No, not today.
not today, so just the beams.
Is that going to be a problem? Push me, yep. Can you push it over there? And
Woohoo! While Dad's here, because he's going to shoot away for breakfast soon, he's going to explain to you why we are putting a roof on the front here, because it is pretty much his idea.
Yeah, like the ice bank was getting a whole lot of mold, mildew all over it. So yeah, so what I wanted to do was just cover everything, sort of to keep it a bit cleaner and drier.
Yeah, the ice bank was getting this green algae stuff in it, down the bottom, so the water was getting pretty yuck.
But that's just while it was sitting there. Right? While it's working, it's pretty clean in there now.
Yeah, it was just through the winter, well, when we weren't milking through the winter really, but this should sort it out. Plus it'd be kind of nice having the front enclosed, so when we're walking around here and it's pouring with rain, we won't get wet. Alright, so all the purlins are on. I think these are called purlins. Just had to take this pipe off because that was for the high pressure hose that's over there, so it was sort of coming in this way. But what I've done is unscrewed that. We're going to adjust it, so cut that off and take it down, put a new pipe straight to over there where it was coming from. Now that we've got a roof we can work with, and this hose here is filling the hot water cylinder, so just need to unconnect these and put them under the roof and then just join it back up. So pretty easy. That's better. I'll just tie those. When we put the iron on, we'll sort of fasten them a bit more than that, but that'll do for now. Fast forward a couple of days and we're still waiting on the iron. We did order it a while back, but due to this whole COVID thing, things are taking longer than expected, but that's alright. So what we've got to do now to pretty much finish it off is just get the iron, but we're also going to paint these brown to match the beams that are in here, so the same colour as these ones, and also put a couple of lights in here to sort of lighten this area up. I was wondering whether we should put some clear light in to sort of let a bit more light in as well, but we sort of didn't go that way because this part of the shed roof that doesn't have any, and it's light enough, so we think we will be fine without it. And on another note, I am just trying to convince Dad at the moment to have a look at a few options regarding our cowshed, because milking does take us quite a while at the moment. We do cup on at about 5:15 in the morning, we start, and then we cup off at about 9:15. So that's 4 hours of milking. We put 20 rows through here, which is a lot, and by the time you add on getting the cows in plus washing up at the end, it's probably the best part of 5 hours. Being one today, it's not so bad because we don't have to do it in the afternoon. If we did, well, yeah, it'd be a bit of a problem and it'd take us ages. But I want to save a little bit more time in the morning or finish earlier, and then we can put that time into other jobs on the farm, which would be nice. So really there's only 3 options that we can see, or there's probably 4, but I'll run through them in a bit. I'll give you a little bit of a brief background about this shed and we'll go from there. So my grandfather built this shed because the one over there were new regulations that came in, I think, and he couldn't get that one up to standard, so the cheaper option was to build a new cow shed. That one was pretty outdated, I suppose. Not many people were milking cows for a walkthrough in the 70s. I think he built this in, it was either 76 or 77, and it was built a 12-side cow shed. Because it was designed to milk 120 cows, the old gate used to be there, and when Dad came home he put 2 sets of cups at the front here. You can see the join there, and then he also put two in the back, so those last two, and I think these are extended out the back too. There is a cut somewhere, maybe not, maybe that was there. You can't really blame them for building such a small shed. Back then they were milking 120 cows, so 10 rows, which is ideal. That's the perfect amount, they say. When Dad put those extra cups in, I think that's when he bought the neighbours or 20 hectares next door, so he was milking up to 220 cows at peak, which wasn't too bad. I think it was about 13 or 14 rows. But we'll go into the first option, which is sort of my idea. So I thought I'd write them up here on the whiteboard, that'll make it easy. So the first option that we've got is to extend 8 sets back or out back. And what do I mean by that? Well, I want to bring the pit out, so I want to extend the pit coming this way. I want to bring it out, so I put another set of 8 cups in out here, which would make it a 24 side. That means we would also have to do, if we did that, bring this centre pole, which is the backing gate, we'd have to bring that out, and I think it comes out to about, I think it was about here somewhere. Which means we would have to push our yard out, because if the centre pole's there, we'd have to push that out the same distance, which you can do because we've got space. And going to a 24 side, I think we'd have to go ACRs. We want to keep it that sort of one-man shed. We want to keep drenching them in the morning, no matter what we do. We quite like it. I'll do that in another video. I'll explain why we do that, because it is interesting. But yeah, I think we'd have to go ACRs. I think all the milk line would be fine. The receiving can we'd keep in the same place, and this milk line slopes down this way towards it, so the receiving can's where the milk goes before it's pumped into the vat. And all you'd have to do with the 8 sets of new cups is float them so the milk's coming down this way into there. I think, I don't know, our plant might be able to handle it. We might have to upgrade, I'm not sure. We haven't actually asked anybody about it yet. But one of the benefits about coming out the back here is that we wouldn't have to change anything up the front half, which would be good because we can sort of all use the stuff how it is up there. But we would have to change the drain. So this is where all the effluent drains to there, and then it goes to the sump, which is over there. And that could be a sort of fairly big job. Well, not a massive job, but yeah, that would have to get changed. Now back to the whiteboard. So a 16 to a 24 side shed would mean that we go from 20 rows down to 14. It would save us about 45 minutes in the morning. We would need to get ACRs, and I'm estimating that the cost to do that job would be about 150k mark. It might be a little bit more, I don't think it'll be any less. But we'll now move on to option number 2, which is to extend 4 cups out the front. This was Dad's idea, so he wants to extend the pit out the front here, 4 sets of cups. So instead of the gates at the front being where they are now, they would sort of move to, I think this pole would be somewhere about there. Now the reason he can't go 6 sets out the cups and wants to keep it 4 is because there is a power cable that runs down there through the yard here and to the effluent system, which is right there. So he doesn't really want to dig that up and move it. So if we went 4 sets, everything would sort of be fine here. We'd have to change the pipe work and stuff, but also move the ice bank there. So it's pretty much the exact opposite to the first option, but we would leave all the back here the same, the collecting yard. All the drains wouldn't have to move, so it wouldn't be nearly as bad, or it wouldn't cost nearly as much. Plus the milk line, we could just keep it going up and put so yeah, just stick with that same gravity there, which wouldn't be bad. We could keep the receiving can. All our plants at the moment would be able to handle it. I think if we went to that 26 we would, or 24 sorry, we would have to maybe upgrade. I'm not too sure, but it would definitely be an easier option. So back to the whiteboard, but a 16 to a 20 out the front there means we'd go from 20 rows to 16. It would save us about half an hour in the morning. Wouldn't need ACRs, which is ideal, a bit of a cost saver. And we are predicting that it would be in the cost range of about 30 to 40k, so a fair bit less than that. Now before we go into the third option, I think if we upgrade anything to the shed, we have to do new stuff to meet the milk regulations for our milk company. So I think we would have to put a concrete pad out here, sort of like a spillway for the tankers and stuff, which is no major. It's just a big concrete pad with a drain that runs into the current drains that we have. We would also have to, I think, relay the floor in the milk room here. As you can see, it's really pitted, just constant water over the years. Also, we would probably need to upgrade our hot water cylinder, which is certainly no major. I also think that you would have to relay the yard here too, do something to fix all these cracks. I'm not sure if you're allowed them. Back when they poured it, there is a, well, they did cut it down there, but they didn't put cuts in like they do nowadays, so it has cracked up badly over the years. But that's no major. If you got to do it, you got to do it. One of the major positives about both of those options though is that our effluent storage, which we have a bladder up on the hill there, it's 500,000 litres, and down here this is our, or this is where it goes to when we want to pump it. So we've got this sort of reservoir down there, or the sump, and we wouldn't have to change any of that, so our current system would be able to handle that. Now on to option number 3. What do you think it's going to be? Can anyone guess? A new shed. Yep, a brand new cow shed. How good would that be? But there's one thing about that. We wouldn't bowl it and put it here, we'd put it somewhere else, because this cow shed's totally in the wrong spot. So where would I put it? Well, if it was me, I would put it somewhere here. So I'm standing in the maize paddock at the moment, which is here where I've marked it on the X, so this is the farm map. So currently our cow shed is right there, and when Pop built the new one, the farm used to be, or that was the boundary of the farm there. So as you can see, it sort of has grown. That was the 20 hectares there that Dad bought, and then a few years ago we sort of purchased that through there. So when he built that, it was right next to the road, it was next to the other cow shed that he used to milk sows through. All the races went there anyway, and it was no massive change. But if you're going to build brand new, you might as well build it in the spot where you think's best, and I think this spot would be, because it's nice and central. It's not far away from any of the furthest paddocks. It's kind of a pain having the cow shed in the corner of your farm, because that means to the furthest way paddock through there is about 2 k's, which is quite a bit of a hike. So if we're milking twice a day, it would be certainly a lot of milk or walking for them, but since they only have to go to the cow shed once, it's not so bad. And if I was going to build new, what would I build? I'd build herringbone. I think I'd stick with a herringbone. Go like a 30 or a 32 aside, put ACRs in it, keep it sort of that one-man operation, and try and modernise it as much as possible. But then again, that all costs money. It would also future-proof us, I think. So if we could possibly lease some land next to us, or buy some land possibly in the future, then we could milk more cows through it, and it would be able to handle that fine. Plus it would be in a good location to that land too, so it's sort of future-proofing. However, if we built new, there would be some major improvements that would have to happen. So if we go back to the map here, and that X is where I am currently, you can see that there is a race here, but none of the other races, these black lines of the races, go to where we are now. So we would have to put in additional cow races, probably through here somewhere, through here somewhere, and through here somewhere. So there'd be quite a bit of race work to do. We're also quite far away from the road, so the road is up there. We would have to bring or put a new tanker track in through here, which is probably somewhere between 800 to K long. We'd have to bring power in there too. We would have to put a bore down somewhere here and try and find water, because there is no water currently coming over here. We'd also have to build a brand new effluent system. We could possibly move that bladder that's over there over here, but I don't think it'd be big enough with the increased sort of yard space we have. So we'd have to start new on that front too. And at the end of the day, all those things cost money, but it would be pretty handy having a nice new shed. So let's take it back to the whiteboard. So I went with the 30-a-side herringbone shed, which would be 11 rows. It would save us, I think, about that 2 hours, maybe a little bit more. Major farm improvements. And what do you think it would cost? I think that it would be somewhere in the ballpark of about 1 mil plus. So what do you guys reckon is the best option for us? So I think I'll go through and cross out a couple of options that we're not really going to look at, which only leaves us with one really viable option. So the first option I'm going to eliminate is this option here, option number 1. Why? Well, my biggest reason is, look at the cost difference. So you're spending that sort of 120k more, and you're really only saving that 15 minutes milking time. So it would be quicker, but I don't think the money's worth it. It's just best bang for your buck here. The next option I'm going to eliminate out of option number 2 and 3, I guess you guys can probably pick it, but this, a new shed. $1 million? just doesn't really make much sense for us at the moment. That's a lot of money we would have to spend and borrow. And the way that I see it is that building a brand new cowshed, which would be awesome, I mean, who wouldn't love a new cowshed? It's every dairy farmer's dream, but it just doesn't make you produce more milk. So it would save you a lot of time, and you can put a value on that, but for once a day we're pretty good with what we've got. And that only leaves one option, which was option number 2, which was what Dad was thinking about, extending out the front here. And depending on how the milk price goes, or the milk price for next season and the summer we get, we are probably going to extend the pit out the front here. So it's still going to save us that half an hour, best bang for your buck. It's not going to be real expensive, but we're still going to get a major benefit from it. So hopefully we'll be able to do that in we'll only be able to do that while we're dry, because we've still got to milk. So somewhere in our dry period, which would be June, at the end of May there, June. So we've still got a little bit of time to think about it, but yeah, I just can't see or warrant spending that $1 million. We're still looking at getting a new tractor for the farm, that's on the cards, but yeah, option number 2 it is. But before I go, I thought I would show you the ice bank, because that is the reason we have extended the roof. So I thought I'd explain that a little bit. So we need to start back in here in the milk room, and this is the milk pump. So it pumps the milk up through there, through a filter, and into the plate cooler. And this plate cooler, these plates get really cold, and it helps chill the milk down a bit before it goes into the vat. And the colder water you can have going into that plate cooler, the cooler the milk's going to be. This here is just a big refrigeration box pretty much. So there's massive big copper cools, as you can see, and at night these freeze, or early in the morning when the power's cheaper. As you can see, there's already ice around some of them, so they ice up way more than this, and then we pump this water through the plate cooler in there to help chill the milk. This ice bank's pretty new, we only got it last year, but before we had that, what used to cool the milk down was these 2 chillers here. So part of the reason having that ice bank is that if you can get the milk going into the vat cooler than what it used to, that's why they call it pre-cooling, and these chillers here don't have to work as hard, which is awesome because you save a bit on power. That'll pretty much wrap up today's video, guys. I hope you found it pretty enjoyable and interesting. If you did, give it a thumbs up, that'd be awesome. If you're a new subscriber, hit that subscribe button down below, and other than that, I'll see you next time.